Many thanks there to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I have to ask, if you reflect back 20 years ago when you were there with him, Jaap, did you think that he would be a manager, let alone the manager of Manchester United?
He was always talking about football because well, when we went to the hotels, we always slept in the same room.
Oh, you bunked with him?
Yeah, so he always spoke about football, and sometimes we were in the hotel and then he wanted to watch like these football shows on television as well already then, and I said, well, let's watch something else. No, because I need to see the game and I want to see the systems and everything. So he was already thinking about it even when he was playing, yeah.
What about the mannerisms? What about the character? I mean, he looks like an extremely nice man.
He's a very good guy, and he knows exactly what he wants and how his team needs to play and what the players need to do. And like he said, you know, he's working on that, you know, and it doesn't go, and especially when you need to work with new players, with young players as well. You need to bring them up to standard, and you need to make everything very clear for them and what you expect from them in a way to play. And sometimes that goes with ups and downs, and you can't expect them, that team, those youngsters, to well, week in, week out, and to deliver a performance like that. Sometimes it goes like this, and then you're up there, and eventually you want to go to the level that you're very consistent in playing, and even in the absolute top teams. I think United is a top team, or they're getting there, you know. But the absolute top teams, you know, even those players, you see that they're struggling in finding well, the right form at times.
Was he the most likely candidate of all your teammates there that would go on to manage a prestigious club like Manchester United? Because you got the likes of Roy Keane, Peter Schmeichel, big names. Gary Neville, he's gone into management yourself.
With all the respect for everybody, it's not always like that when you're a big name in football or when you're a big player that you're a good manager. You know, it doesn't mean that when you're a captain, whatever, and you're very verbal on the pitch, that you're a good manager in producing the right answers for the players and helping out the players. Not at all, you know. You need to have a clear mind in how you're stepping into the game, how you think about football. And the thing is, and that's all he is doing that as well, you need to manage a team as well. You need to work with personalities, and it's not like back in the day that you can shout to every player as well. And times are changing, and certain players you need to treat in a different way, in a different manner, to make everything clear for them, to get them all with their faces in the right direction to eventually get the results. And there's always people who are very critical to Ole as well, and it's very easy for us as well to say, oh, well, he's lost a couple of games, he's not a good manager. That's not how it works. If I think, and we've been all in management. If you've never been in management, it's very hard, I think, to feel how it is basically if you're standing before a group and if you need to produce results with a squad of 25 people. Because and it's very easy to say, oh, he needs to do this or he needs to do that, you know. But you never know what's behind it.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, how players feel, what's going on, what's happening within the squads. There are a lot of other reasons as well. Sometimes why teams or why players are not producing.
Because Roy Keane looks like a scary man, and I can imagine if you played under him, you might be too intimidated at times.
Well, that's why he struggled. That's why he struggles as a manager, because you can't, like Jaap said, the game's changed now. You can't yell, shout, scream. Look at Mourinho. Mourinho is a brilliant manager, but he's come back to Tottenham. We were talking about this the other day, Gal. We don't know how long it'll last. But you see now where he's come out and he's apologised for taking Dyer off, when really he shouldn't have to apologise for taking Dyer off. He's seen a tactical change he needed to do. Whether they win or lose, that was a decision. But he knows now he can't afford to lose one player in that dressing room, because the players will get you the sack. So now you've got to put your arm around them. Even if you wanted to, you know, Fergie would have to change. He wouldn't have been able to manage the way that he's managed back in the day. These players now have control, because it's easier to get rid of the manager rather than 15 or 20 players. So the manager's going to go. So now with the players, you've got a Roy, you know. It's interesting. I think him going to work for Martin O'Neill, Martin O'Neill is a very softly spoken guy, brilliant man management. Whether that was for Roy to kind of learn that bit from Martin before he gets another manager's job, but that's the bit he's got to learn, because I believe in every manager's job he's taken so far, he's ended up losing the dressing room, because he was a top player. So when you go into management, you have to remember that those players, Jaap Stam takes over of a football club. the players at Reading have never got to the level of Jaap Stam. So Jaap can't go in there and talk about when he was playing, because that will kill the players, because they've never got to that level. He's got to deal with them on that level and be humble, because that's the way the game's gone now.
Yeah. Like, look, the game has evolved. It's changed. You know, what we watch on the TV screens is quite a different product today than it was 10 years ago. And the same things happen with management. You know, the managers have had to evolve. They've had to change. And Jose Mourinho has had to, in my opinion, and let's hope he continues to do it, he's had to reinvent himself. You know, his ways of yesteryear don't work now.
It's not going to gel. I'm going to ask you as well, Jaap, because you were with Carlo Ancelotti. Now, he looks like a very cool customer, Don Carlo. He's got his eyebrow up. He doesn't look like a person that would shout and scream at players.
No,
so Alex Ferguson looks like a person that would
He can be angry at times as well, Carlo, but not the majority of times he's really down to earth, really calm, you know, a man manager.
Did you appreciate that more?
Tactics, not a lot, you know, made it very clear how he wanted to play, what he expects from players, but very good in working with the squad, with individuals as well, you know, in getting them in the right direction. Which
style did you appreciate more as a player, a player's perspective? The way that Carlo Ancelotti handled players, the calmness, the man motivator? Or...
Well, I like both, and I think nowadays you need, especially in the top, you need to have both as well. You know, because everybody's talking about systems, and you need to have an answer to everything, basically. You know, but you need to get the writers, the players also in that direction, that they make the right decisions for you as well on the pitch. You know, so I think you need to have a bit of both to eventually get up there.
So you've borrowed elements in your managerial career.
Well, you're looking when you're a player, and during my career as a player, I wasn't really thinking about management. And when I stopped playing football, eventually I stepped in a small club in Holland. They asked me to help them out. I was on the pitch, working with individuals, working with the team, and eventually it starts to grow on you because you get good feedback, and the players like it when you're helping them out. They're playing better football, and eventually you go for your badges, and then you need to make your own decisions. Okay, you always want to be second, okay, and then the manager is deciding, and you always say yes. Or do you want to make your own decisions? And eventually I made the choice to go for my own decisions and try it and see how it goes. And when you go into management and you're working with a lot of young players as well, it's great to see them improving, at becoming a better player, and the team starts to play better football, and you get certain results, and that's nice. That gives you a good feeling as well. And of course there's bad times as well, you know, but that's the times from those times you learn. And from the managers, well, I've worked with as a player, you know, certain things, and especially from the managers that you didn't have a good relationship from, you know, you learn a lot basically in terms of, okay, he did this in this situation, I wouldn't do that, you know, I would have done it like this, and you start thinking about your own managers, and it helped me out. Yeah, it was good.
You're considered one of the greatest defenders to have played the game. Now, I'm not saying this just because you're here, but the context of my question is, does it frustrate you as a manager if you are trying to coach defending to your players and they can't perform to the standard which you could perform? Yeah, does it frustrate you?
It's like what Carlton said, you know, when you're working at a club of a certain level, you know, you can't expect them to make make the right choices. Even the top defenders in the world, they're making mistakes as well. You know, you need to make it clear for them and what you expect from them. You show it to them. You help them out. You need to explain them as well. And eventually, you're hoping that they pick things up and that they're improving and they're making less mistakes. You know, and by doing that, the confidence is growing as well. You know, and that helps them out as well. And eventually, you get the things that you want to see from them. And if you're saying 10 times, okay, I want you to do this at this time, and after the 10th time, the 11th time, he's doing that again, okay, then eventually towards the end of the season or halfway the season, you need to make a different choice maybe.
Yeah, completely understand.